Hi all, AD here from Hunts and Jaunts. As always, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today I'm in deepest, darkest Sussex and we're at the ruin of the old Boxgrove Priory. So let's go and explore. The part of Boxgrove Old Priory that I'm showing you here isn't the main church building, as that still stands nearby. This is set slightly apart from it, and this would have been part of the priory's living and accommodation spaces. Now, if you want to see what the priory would have looked like back in the day, I found a model of it inside the church, and I have added that footage on at the end of the video. This is where the monks would have slept and where travellers or pilgrims could have been given shelter for the night. So even though it looks quiet and almost forgotten now, this would have been a place that people passed through and lived, and not just the monks, but outsiders too. Boxgrove Priory itself was founded around 1105 by a Norman lord called Robert Decay, and it started with just 3 Benedictine monks here, and they were sent over from Lessay Abbey, which is in Normandy, to establish a small religious outpost here. So there was just 3 people, and that's all this place was at the beginning, but it grew. By the 13th century, there were nearly 20 monks living here, and they followed a strict routine built around prayer, reading and work. Their lives were very structured, down to the hour every day, repeating the same cycle and routine with very little variation. And places like this weren't just religious, they were part of how society worked at the time. Now, the priory would have owned land, received donations, and in return the monks offered prayers, especially for the dead, as people believed those prayers could help their souls after death. So this place became tied to something more than just daily life. It was tied to what people feared came after it. So if you look around, although it's hard to picture that now, as most of the priory is gone, what we're walking through are just fragments, sections of walls, outlines of rooms, and this standing structure that would have once had multiple floors. I believe it was on 3 levels, with the space below it for storage. But this area in particular, I really think gives you a sense of the everyday side of life here. It's where the monks would have returned at the end of the day, where they slept, where their routines didn't stop even at night, and where travellers and pilgrims moving through the area might have been given a place to rest under the priory's protection. So it wasn't completely closed off from society. People came and went, which makes it feel less isolated than it looks now. But that being said, life here wasn't peaceful in the way you might imagine, because records from the time show that not all the monks got along. There were disputes, complaints and reminders from higher authorities about discipline, what they should eat, how they should behave, and even how strictly they had to follow the rules. So despite its structure, it wasn't perfect. And there's yet another layer to this place as well, because Boxgrove started as what's called an alien priory, meaning it was actually controlled by a monastery in France. So during periods of conflict between England and France, that obviously became a problem. The crown demanded payments, and there was always the risk of the lands being seized. Eventually the prior became independent, but not without pressure. So even here, in what feels like this beautiful, quiet, rural setting, it wasn't completely separated from the wider world. And then along came the Black Death. In the mid-14th century, it swept through England, and evidence suggests that leaders of this priory died in quick succession, and in a community this small, this had a huge impact. But the priory still carried on, and for centuries it survived through disease, conflict and its internal tensions. And that was all until the 16th century. Of course, the Reformation, and in 1537, during the reign of Henry VIII, Boxgrove Priory was dissolved, but that wasn't gradual. At the time, there were still monks living here, along with servants, all connected to the priory, and then suddenly, of course, it was just shut down abruptly. The buildings were handed over, and much of what we see missing today was taken apart or left to decay, and that's why this place feels the way it does. It didn't just slowly fade away, it just stopped. Part of the priory, the original priory, survived by becoming the local parish church, and that is still in use today, and I'm making that a separate video which will be coming up shortly after this one. But everything else, including where we're standing now, was left behind, and over time it became this ruin, a place that used to have structure, purpose and routine, and now it's just reduced to an open space and broken stone. And if you stand still here for a moment, it's not overwhelming at the moment. There's no spectacle, but there is something very eerie about it, because this isn't just a ruin from age or neglect. It's what was left behind after something was deliberately ended, and this is all we have left now, just the pieces. I've just had the strangest experience, everyone. I just saw something go past just down the end here where I was taking a thumbnail. I was trying to take a thumbnail for the video, and it was like something in like a dress, like a black dress. It's really freaked me out, so I'm not filming anymore in there. I'm going to head over to the ruins of what was originally the parish church that they had attached on to the priory. So they knocked that down, and then they made what was their priory into the church. So I'm going to do the church in a separate video. But yeah, let's head back in this way. I feel really uncomfortable now. It's really spooked me out, to say the least. Now let's head in this way. So behind there you can see what was the priory, and then they built the parish church on here, and then this is the ruin of it. Because monasteries like this weren't just religious spaces, they were part of the local power structure. The priory owned land, it controlled resources, and in return it offered something people were willing to pay for: prayers. But not casual prayers. These were constant, structured prayers for the souls of the dead, and people believed that what the monks did here could shorten their time in purgatory, so they gave land, money and resources in exchange for a type of spiritual insurance, in a way. So the quiet ruins that we're standing in here now used to be tied directly to people's fear of death. Well, more the fear of what came after death. And what we see here now is what would have been the church, the parish church, but after the Reformation, the parish church was knocked down, but it's good that there's still some remaining features of it. And the main priory was actually turned into what is now today the parish church. I'm going to wrap the video up here. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I'm having a very strange day today because not only have I just seen that thing over there, but the batteries have completely drained, and I don't know why. Never happened before, so I'm going to have to go back to the car and charge those. Very strange. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, if you could please like, subscribe, hit the hype button. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more, I'll pop the links down below. And I'm going to do another video from Boxgrove Priory, which is now the church, and you can check that out on my channel. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. I'm going back to the car now to recharge the batteries so I can film the church. Bye for now.